welcome back to BLOCKTV. Now, BTSE is a financial tech company that utilizes Bitcoin and cryptocurrency technologies to develop real-world financial products and services. And joining us today is the CEO of BTSE, Jonathan Leong. Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having
All
me.
right, well, Jonathan, to start us off, what separates BTSE from every other crypto exchange out there?
Well, I would say it really ties into the products that we built. Many of the products, it's driven by innovation. We don't just do one vertical, which is the exchange. We have other verticals that includes OTC, lending, asset management, and we're even planning to launch a debit card soon. Separately, on top of that, the innovation that drives the exchange includes features like a multi-currency spot order book where users can trade and settle in any currency, as well as a multi-asset futures trading platform.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys do have a token sale coming up on March 5th on the Liquid network, the Bitcoin Liquid network. First, let's start off with the Liquid. Why did you guys choose the Liquid network?
Well, we do see a lot of potential in Liquid, what it actually brings to the table. Confidential transactions, faster transaction time. Basically, we do believe that privacy is very important, and we do see that Liquid will be adopted across many exchanges. We're already seeing that happen. And going forward, that's where we see the potential to be.
Mm-hmm. Now, following in the footsteps of industry giants like Binance, you guys are actually launching your own BTSE exchange token. What unique use cases will this token give to its users?
Well, the utility covers a lot of benefits that drives trades on the platform. You get discounts, you get higher rebates. These are all very, very standard offerings. But what we basically have to add on top of this is the additional services that we actually will introduce. For example, a debit card. Users would be able to pay and be able to access exclusive services with bonuses and rebates as one use case. The other use case will be paying for services on the platform, as well as being able to leverage off our asset management services.
Now, you mentioned that debit card. Can users actually take that debit card, go into their local grocery store and utilize that debit card there?
Yes, exactly. So it can be funded with fiat or crypto.
Oh, wow. Okay, so one could essentially use their BTSE account kind of as their bank account, keeping their fiat, their crypto all together, and even using it in the real world as well?
Yes, that is correct. It actually brings about a lot of convenience for people who don't really have access to banking or be able to have a credit card or a debit card. This is a perfect opportunity for users to access this. We do see a need for this, especially within the China market, where users want to be able to travel and still be able to spend. And this would be one way to actually go about that.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned before kind of your all-in-one order book. Can you give me a little bit, what does that mean, all-in-one order book? How's that different from every other order book?
So for every exchange, let's just pick a coin pair, say Litecoin, for example. On any platform, the code currency is always separated by individual order books. So you would have an order book that's based out of USDT, a separate for that's priced in Bitcoin, another that's priced in, say, Ethereum. The result of that is that liquidity becomes very fragmented, and you see wider spreads, and it's not very efficient. So what we did was actually create an implied order book where we support 8 different fiat currencies, as well as the major USD stablecoins and the major pairs, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the benefit of this is that users, they don't have to sell off an asset. For example, if I wanted to buy Litecoin to Ethereum, I wouldn't have to take Ethereum, sell it to USD, and then use USD to buy Litecoin. So we actually save in that leg of fees. We also bring about more liquidity and better pricing because all the orders are basically pulled into one order book.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Now, your exchange is licensed by the government of Dubai and is under the regulations of the Central Bank of United Arab Emirates. Now, we don't often hear about the Middle East when it comes to crypto, but we do know that Arab countries like the UAE are looking to diversify from their oil holdings. Do you believe that cryptocurrencies do offer that outlet for diversification in these areas?
Well, to correct you there, it was towards the end of the year that we decided to move from the UAE because regulations were not clear enough. And actually, we've moved our base to the BVI. Separately, we do see a huge market in the UAE. So it's where we still maintain, we're still able to take on users there. And we do see quite some decent trade flow coming from the UAE.
Mm-hmm. Now, you did mention the reason for that was because of unclear regulations. Where do you see, what role do you see regulations playing in the growth for mass adoption in cryptocurrency and the growth for the cryptosphere as a whole?
I do think that the next few years will be very interesting, and regulations are just coming into place. But I do think that the way it's implemented, it has to be well thought of. Take for example, Singapore just came up with the new Payment Services Act that tries to cover and regulate and cast a very wide net that addresses these things. I do believe that regulation is somewhat necessary for mass adoption because consumer safety is, of course, one of the primary concerns, and making sure that there are proper AML checks in place and counter-terrorism financing is all properly protected. So I do see regulation playing a very key role in the widespread adoption, but it's good that over the past year you've seen a lot more governments being more open to the idea of supporting cryptocurrencies and recognizing it as an investment asset.
Mm-hmm. And last question, Jonathan, what does the future hold for BTSE?
Well, a lot of interesting things are coming up. So, as I said, for BTSE, we're more than an exchange. Our goal is really to build up a suite of financial services that tailor to the retail guys, right? Making cryptocurrency easily adoptable. So having the right fiat access, having a debit card is very important to allow people to just use it in their day-to-day life. Having other traditional financial products that users can still use crypto and trade on CFDs, for example. We do have a very interesting roadmap and pipeline coming up in the next year.
All right, very exciting, Jonathan. That's all time we have, but we'd love to have you back on in the future as these future plans develop. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And for all our viewers at home, if you want more on blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and technology, make sure to check us out at blocktv.com.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.